With the Bad Batch series having its season finale, I'm surprised we still have so many questions left unanswered. We saw Commander Cody for one episode and didn't get a full story on where he ended up. We're not exactly sure what's happening with Rex's rebellion, and we don't know if Senator Chuchi ever got a resolution to her clone retirement program. But these are just a few missing details, so today I'm going over every question left unanswered by the Bad Batch season finale. Also, I'm convinced we're going to get another show in the Clone Wars saga, so stay tuned until the end where I explain exactly why and what's coming up next for animated Star Wars. We found out that Cody is not happy with the Empire, and Crosshair certainly did not help with that after their mission together. If Cody knows about Rex, it seems like he could easily become one of Rex's informants inside the Empire. If Cody doesn't know that Rex is alive yet, then I would love to hear the story of the two brothers reuniting, and hear about how Cody will help with Rex's rebellion. Commander Cody was mentioned in an episode of the animated show Rebels, where Rex had a flashback of Cody. Rex and Kanan were working together on a mission, and Rex had flashbacks to the Clone Wars. And for a few seconds, he thought that Kanan was Cody. He quickly snaps out of it though, and Rex and Kanan have a touching moment together. But that still leaves us to the question, what happened to Cody after the Bad Batch? We saw him during the Bad Batch, but he is nowhere to be found during Rebels. Maybe we can assume Cody had a peaceful retirement after leaving the Empire, but never got in contact with Rex. Hopefully this is something we can get answered, but up next for the next detail we have missing is a clone with amazing hair, Howzer. Howzer's story was also missing from the season finale. We know that Howzer went to work with Rex and his clone rebellion, but a lot of fans were disappointed we didn't get to see him after the episode with Wolffe and the secret clone base. Howzer was one of the most outspoken clones who stood up to the Empire. I think he will continue to be a vital piece of the rebellion and Rex's clone network, but I still would like to see a resolution to his story. And speaking of the clone network, the two most curious clones in Rex's clone network would have to be Wolffe and Greggor, because we see both of them living with Rex on an ATTE during Rebels. We hear the Empire talking about Rex and Wolffe and referencing them as clones along with their CT numbers, so we know for sure that the Empire never found out about Rex's clone rebellion. If the Empire did know about the rebellion, they probably wouldn't be so forgiving when speaking to Rex and Wolffe during Rebels. We're missing a lot of details on how they end up retiring on an old ATTE and what happens to the clone rebellion that Rex started. I'm assuming this rebellion grew far too big for Rex to handle, so naturally it took the form of a larger rebellion that we get to see more of in Rebels. But I'm hoping to get a full story on why Rex chooses to retire. How did he make the rebellion large enough, and when did he decide he didn't need to work on it anymore? He definitely trusted that there were capable people involved, because I don't think Rex would have retired if the rebellion wasn't in capable hands. Also, how do they recruit so many people loyal to the rebellion so early? Maybe this can be another full-length animated show, or maybe we will see some of this clear up in a short series like Tales of the Clones. Now moving on to a few missing details from the Bad Batch crew members, we still aren't certain about how much force sensitivity Omega has. I'm kind of glad they didn't make Omega out to be suddenly force sensitive at the last minute, kind of like we saw in Ahsoka, but I still would like to know if the Kaminoans purposefully made her to be force sensitive, or if it was just an accident. I'm assuming she is force sensitive based on Asajj Ventress' answer when she spoke to Hunter. She hinted that even if she was force sensitive, it wouldn't matter because she would need to be trained, and that wouldn't be possible. From the epilogue, it doesn't seem like Omega was trained at all, and she got to live pretty peacefully on Pabu for a while. But since we saw her force sensitivity explored for an entire episode, I'm also curious to see if she actually has force sensitivity, or does she just have very unique cloning potentials that are valuable for the Empire. I think Omega has a larger connection to Grogu from The Mandalorian, because the Empire seems to be interested in Grogu for the same reasons they were interested in Omega. I've heard this theory passed around that Dr. Pershing is possibly Dr. Kara's son, and that would be how the Kaminoan technology gets in the hands of the Empire during the New Republic. I'm thinking this theory is actually correct because the science that Dr. Pershing was researching on Grogu seems to be really similar to what Nala Se was doing on Tantus. Or Grogu is only one piece of the puzzle because of his abnormally high M count. Maybe to get a successful Palpatine clone, you need a host that's able to retain an M count, and you need a source that has a very high M count if you want the clone to be able to be as powerful as Palpatine. Still, these are questions we need answered, and I'm thinking Star Wars will continue to do animated shows to give us those extra details. Also, speaking of Asajj Ventress, I'm really surprised we only saw her for one episode in the Bad Batch, and that episode didn't really tell us much of anything about her. Asajj seemed to have come in for just a short time, tell the audience a small bit about M count, but then disappear again. I think it's awesome that Asajj seems to be working with Fennec Shan in the Bounty Hunters Guild, but I do wish we would have gotten more details on why we had a whole episode dedicated to her and Omega's force sensitivity. Without any more details, it kind of feels like that episode was a major detour, since we as the audience already know about M count. Also, another detail about Omega that we seem to be missing missing is who recruited her to the rebellion. It could be that she answered the call of Mon Mothma, calling out to anyone willing to help the rebel cause. Or maybe since she had a connection with Hera, she got personally recruited by the Phoenix Squad leader. Maybe in a future show we get a little connection between the Bad Batch epilogue and the rebellion during Rebels. But I'm mostly just hoping we see Omega in a live-action show during the New Republic era. I think it would be amazing to see Omega working with Hera and Ezra to stop Thrawn and get Ahsoka back from Peridia. Also, I'm assuming Omega is a fairly awesome pilot by the time she goes off to the rebellion, so I'm curious who trained her and where she got her new ship. Maybe it was a ship that Echo was able to get during one of his missions for Rex. And Echo seems to be another clone I would love to have more story on. I think Echo didn't get enough screen time or a good resolution to his story. Pretty much like Rex, we don't know what Echo has been up to for the Clone Rebellion, but we do know that Echo is not mentioned during the Rebel series. This will be pretty sad if we don't see Echo again, but maybe he retired on Pabu instead of with Rex, or maybe he's the father to Dr. Pershing, and he is retired somewhere with Dr. Kara. That would be a pretty interesting twist, and I'm hoping we get an answer one day. If Dr. Pershing is Dr. Kara's son, then he does have to have a father, and Echo might be a good contender. Also, another amazing Easter egg we get in the Bad Batch is how early Bail Organa gets involved with the rebellion. We know from Revenge of the Sith that Bail Organa immediately does not trust the Empire, and he starts working right away to gather people who are still loyal to the Republic. Most of the galaxy believed in the Empire and supported the Republic falling during Revenge of the Sith. Slowly throughout the Bad Batch, we see why the galaxy switched their opinions so drastically, and the rebellion grew so large only about 19 years later during A New Hope. In the Bad Batch, we get more details from Bail Organa and Senator Chuchi about the political leaders that are secretly working for the Rebel Alliance. Senator Chuchi was working on a clone trooper retirement program, but it got shut down when it was revealed that Rampart had attacked the Kaminoans. We don't get to see too much of what happened after the clone troopers became stormtroopers. We see Bail Organa working with Rex to organize political alliances for the rebellion, but during the Bad Batch, they are all still really small efforts compared to the gigantic Rebel Alliance that we see during A New Hope. I would love to get more details on Bail Organa. We see a bit of the political side of the rebellion during Andor, and some people find it a little slow, but I think the political parts are really entertaining. Lucasfilm already has their production team and animation team built out for their animated shows, and they've been releasing full-length shows almost every year. And Disney Plus needs a way to keep fans engaged with the platform, so it makes sense to keep releasing week-to-week content with an animated show. Animated shows are much cheaper and faster to produce, so it's a way to keep Star Wars fans involved with the franchise and with Disney Plus. I can't wait to see these characters again, and I'm really hoping we don't have to wait 2 or 3 years in between shows like we do with live action content. Animated shows just makes the franchise more lively and interesting because we have stories releasing throughout the year. If you love Star Wars as much as I do, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more content. Also, I did an explanation on the Bad Batch's armor and genetic modifications, so be sure to check that out if you want to hear exactly why the Bad Batch is so powerful and they kept their 100% mission success rate during the Clone Wars. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.